So now let's start by git cloning the project and make the website up and running so quickly. Right now, what we're going to do is to open the terminal, and you should head over to the place that you want to create your project folder. Then you can run mkdir to create the directory, and then you can, for example, write marketplace like this. So let me see what's the problem. File exists. Okay, we can run real estate marketplace, and then cd to the real estate, and then you can click tab in order to write it quickly. Now what we're going to do is to first create a virtual environment, and then we'll git clone the project. So what I'm going to do is to run Python 3. So because I'm on Linux, I'm going to run Python 3. If you're on Windows, if you have any other versions of Python, it's totally up to you to write Python or Python 3. But because I'm on Debian 11, I need to run Python 3 -m when, and then I can call this my virtual environment. You can call your virtual environment whatever you like. My virtual environment, and then it's going to create the virtual environment for me. So if you run ls, you will be able to see that it exists. You can cd to the virtual environment. So and then click tab, press tab, and then you're in the virtual environment. Run ls again, and as you can see, you have the bin folder. If you're on Windows, you'll have the a script folder or something like that. So it totally depends on which operating system you're working on, and then you'll need to head over cd to that specific directory. So I will cd to the bin folder here, and I will run ls. As you can see, we have activate. If you're on Windows and you have head over to the scripts folder, you can run activate, and it will activate the virtual environment. If you're on Linux like me, you need to run source dot it's common actually, so source./activate, and then as you can see, my virtual environment has been activated. So what I'm going to do next is to here git clone the project, and then here we do not need to create an empty project. If you're going to start from scratch, you can skip ahead to the part in the timestamp, but right now what I'm going to do is to git clone the project and make it up and running so quickly without needing to start from scratch. So what I'm going to do is to run git clone, and then I'm going to copy the link of the GitHub repository so that I can git clone the project. I will notice that I will give a link in the description for the GitHub repository so that I do not need to head over to this website and just copy the link from here. You can just copy the link from the descriptions. So the project has been git cloned, and then you can run ls. As you can see, we've got here, we've got this marketplace website, something like this, which is a folder created for your project. So I'm gonna cd to marketplace, and you can press tab on your keyboard and click enter. So here we are in this directory, and then you can run ls here, and as you can see, you have all the different parts related to your Django project. So right now, first things first, we need to install the requirements in the txt file. So it contains some of the packages such as Django and other libraries that are dependencies of this project. Most of the time, there are not a lot of dependencies. If I here click on the requirements.txt, you'll see that it's Django, pillow for the images, so pillow is necessary, and also some other correlated Django libraries. So what I'm going to do is to pip install -r or -i requirements.txt. I will click enter and it will start installing all of the dependencies, and as you can see, all of them are now installed. So let's try running Python manage.py run server. And now, as you can see, there is this problem right over here. That port is already in use, and the reason is that I'm running another project for showcasing the website, and can stop this by clicking Control C. This is a project that I've started from scratch, coded that, and I have got that in my other directory. But in order to be able to make this up and running so quickly with this port 8000, we can run it this way. Notice that we haven't migrated the project, so it's better to press Ctrl C and migrate the project first. So in order to do so, what I'm going to do is to run Python manage.py migrate. So let's see what's the problem here. Python manage.py migrate. Oh, it's got this problem here related to spelling. So let me run this Python manage.py migrate. Okay, now it's the project is migrated, and now we can run Python manage.py run server, and as you can see, it's now up and running just the way we like. And also notice that here we haven't got some static files, right? The directory home, Arashtad, Django projects, real estate marketplace, this and that. You know, in this directory there is no static directory, right? So what we need to do, because in our settings.py we've got this static directory, but here we're missing that because I've git ignored that folder right over here. As you can see, I've removed this static folder, the media folder, and db.sqlite. These are all the personal data that I didn't push to GitHub, and I included it in the git ignore. So what you need to do is to add this folder to your project, because right over here, if I click on this, you'll probably face an error, right? So if I copy this link right over here, and notice that here, this is the very same link that I was running in order to showcase the website. So this is probably the cache that is showing this image, but this image does not actually exist. So if I head over to here, you know, interestingly, the images exist because they might exist in some other folder. So let me press Ctrl C, run ls. So let's take a look at the folders. We've got some folders right over here, and you know, somewhere in them there might be some images, but we don't have the data related to our database. As you can see, there are no products, right? Because we haven't placed any product in our website, and they used to exist in somewhere like this. Let's take a look at the folders. They used to exist in a folder here in this project. Let me show you the static files, right? In the static files, we used to have the images related to the houses, but right now there are no database. There is no db.sqlite containing the data related to the houses. So as a result, we have no data, and as you can see, this site cannot be reached. But once you head over to the home page, these images exist somewhere in our project, and they're not git ignored. It's better to git ignore them as well, but because here they are in the home page and they're not related to the database, you can keep them, because this is just some arbitrary images that are not related to the database. They're just some images to make your website more beautiful. That's why it's not been git ignored. So right now what I'm gonna do is to create a super user. That way we can manage our database, add some houses, and then we can head over to the real estate for sale, and we'll be able to see that those images are added. Also, it is recommended that, you know, actually this is a must. This is not something that is recommended. This is something that you need to do in order to make it up and running. you need to add the static folder. So what I'm going to do is to add the static folder as well. But before we do that, it's better to take a look at the settings.py in our project. So here on the GitHub repository, it's better to, whatever project you're taking a look at, it's a good practice to take a look at the projects folder settings.py. Here this is ES-store, and then you can take a look at the settings.py and see the static folder root and also media URL. As you can see, the media URL is in the media. So as you can see, this is the media URL, and the media root is in the media folder. So what I'm going to do is to create the media folder, also the static folder. Here, as you can see, the static directory is the static folder. And the other thing that you might have the question in mind is that why is that we do not have this static folder, but we have these images here? And the reason is the command that you run, collect a static. Python manage.py collect a static will collect all the static files and put that in the project, and even if you git ignore the static folder, it will still keep those images. Here, as you can see in this project, we have the media folder and also the static folder, right? So let me show you the static folder here. As you can see on the images folder, we have the slide 1, slide 2, slide 3, but we do not have this on the GitHub repository. But why is it that after git calling the project, we still have these images? And that the main reason is that once we collect the static files in our project, they will always remain there. Even if the database, the media folder, and the static folders are git ignored and they're not in the project. Anyway, now that we have the project up and running, we need to add the static folder and also the media folder. So what I'm going to do is to run mkdir static. So the static folder has been created. Let's run ls and confirm that we have the static folder. As you can see, we've got it. And then let's cd to static folder, static. And here let's create the images folder. So mkdir images. So let's make sure spelling is correct. Okay, we've got it. And then let's run ls. We've got the images folder. And now let's cd back by running cd space dots dots. And here we can also create the media folder. Okay, dear media. And then let's run ls to confirm we have the media folder. Let's cd to the media folder, cd media. And then let's create a folder called, let me see here. Okay, mkdir. There seems to be something wrong over here. I'm not sure why, but let's run mkdir. Or it's better to make this bit better by running clear. Now we can run mkdir. It's probably a bug inside of the Linux that is you're seeing this like this. But let me make the terminal a bit bigger. Now it's fine. It should work fine. Now let me. Okay, now we can run mkdir. We are in the media folder, and let's add the products folder here. Now that we have the products folder, we can cd back to our project main directory. So what we did was to create two folders in our project. Let's run ls. We have the static folder and the media folder added here. And inside of the media folder, we have the products folder, and inside of the static folder, we have the images folder. So it's better to open this with VS Code in order to see all the folders much better. So in order to do so, we can run code space dot, and then it will open the project inside VS Code. And now what I'm going to do is to make this bigger, open the terminal, and we can continue the rest of the project from here. But notice that here we're not in the virtual environment. So what I'm going to do is to cd back to this folder, the bin folder, and run source dot slash activate. Now we can, now that the virtual environment is activated, we can cd to the default folder by pressing tab. The default folder appears in the terminal, and then here we are ready for continuing the rest of the project. So now the next thing we need to do is to run the python manage.py create super user. So most of these commands are also listed here in the GitHub repository README file. So if you go to the main page of the repository, you will be able to see that we've got all the commands: git clone for pip install requirements.txt for making the migrations, for migrating, and also creating a super user. Notice that up to now we haven't made the migrations, so I can copy this command and make migrations, then migrate, then we can create super user, and so on. And after all, we can create this run server. But notice that here in the middle of these processes, we also need to create these folders for media folder and also static files. So make sure you also follow along with these two steps. Anyway, let's go forward, and let me press Ctrl+C first and make the migrations at the beginning before we get into creating the super user. So let's make the migrations. Okay, no changes detected, but as you can see, the db.sqlite has been added. So python manage.py migrate to make sure everything's in a correct way. Okay, running the migrations, no migration to apply. Now that we are sure that there's nothing else to be migrated, we can create the super user. So here I can write, for example, Arashtad, and then I can enter the email arashtadco@gmail.com. It could be an arbitrary email, but it's better that you enter right email, the correct one. And then here you should enter a password that has some minimal requirements. So I've entered, you should also enter that again. So you need to make sure that the passwords match, so you shouldn't enter some arbitrary password like what I did. So it's better to be a kind of password that is secure, that also meet the requirements. Now I've entered two passwords that are secure and it has minimal requirements. They're like each other. I've memorized them, noted them somewhere. Now I can run python manage.py run server, and now we can click on the link, follow the link, and it should open a page like this for us. So as you can see, this is the same page that was opened up before. Now the first thing first is to head over to the admin panel. So you write /admin, and here you enter the username that you entered in for yourself previously. So we got Arashtad, and then you'll enter the password to enter. As you can see, we've entered into the admin panel, and here we've got the products. So products, what we mean by products is the houses that we want to add. So you can change your models.py, which is let me show you here. They're in the let me first make sure which one it is. This is the market. Okay, this is the project that we git cloned. Now if you take a look at the accounts, no, the media, the products. Okay, the product is the app that we created for adding the real estate. This could also be used for other marketplaces. That's why I've written product. It's a general name, and the product could be a car, it could be a house, it could be any item that you want to sell. And in the models here, we've added some of the necessary parts for the house. It could be for a car, so zip code becomes VIN number, stock number. The instead of the address, you can write make, model, and instead of number of bedrooms, you can write number of cylinders, mileage, and so on. So it totally depends on the kind of product you want to sell in your marketplace. You can update your product class name, and also make sure you have this SDR function, and also you have inside of your admin.py, you will also register them to the admin panel. These are the necessary parts that will follow along in our tutorial when we enter the coding part. Right now it's totally necessary to consider them, but right now we can just head over to the admin panel and take a look at their users. So the only user that we have right now is us. We have the super user. We can add the users from here by clicking add, or the user can register to the website and we can give access to the user. So here you can add the user, username, password, and password confirmation. So for example, here I can write Arashtad2 and then a password for that user, and save and continue editing. So once you do that, you can also add so many other data related to that user: first name, last name, email address, and then it could also be a super user. So the super user status could also be checked in order to become a super user. So once it's a super user, it will have the capability to add other users, other super users, have also the product's access. It could be a staff status, so you can also create the groups, the user permissions. So it could be a user that has the capability of being admin, of having the auth kind of authentication kinds of access to the product. They can add the product, change the product, delete, and view the product, right? So they can come over here and be able to for example, make all of these changes. So we make this as an active user, and we give this user the capability to add the product. And so let's take it over here. So it should be added to this list right over here. So can add the product, can change the product, but it cannot delete the product. So for example, you do not want to let them to delete the product. So here we have the product. They can also view the products. So once we do this, we can save this, make it happen. And also you can keep track of the changes related to logging in and so on. You can also make them the super user and so many other things that you want to do. So you can save this and then head over to the list. As you can see, we have the list of the users. By clicking on the users, you can see the list of the users. You can see some other data related to the email address, first name, last name, and so on. As you can see, the staff status is not checked for the Arashtad2. So it's not a staff, it's just a normal user with some kind of access capability. So let's take a look at the products here. So we have no product, we can add the product, right? So in our models.py, we defined some of the fields for adding the product, such as the description, title, price, image, city, zip code. These are all of what we included in the models.py. So we also have the image field. You can add the image for the kind of real estate that you want to add. Then you'll have the real estate data for all of them. So here, for example, I can add the title. For example, it could be semi-detached house, for example. And this is an affordable semi-detached house. In the description, and the price could be, for example, $1 million. It's just an arbitrary value. It could be realistic, it could not be realistic. It's just totally up to you. And for example, it could be, the city could be Los Angeles, New York, Toronto, or any other city that you like. So here, for example, we can enter Toronto. The zip code could be an arbitrary number. So just entering a number, just don't take it seriously. It's just a number. It's not realistic. So also for the address, Ontario, Toronto, some street. Not gonna mention the street, and so on and so forth, right? And also the number of bedrooms. It could be, for example, 3 bedrooms. Square feet, just an arbitrary number. I'm not sure if that makes sense or not. Number of floors could be 2. And then we can add the image, or we can just choose not to add the image. Now I've also added the image that I had some kind of image for the house. It's just an arbitrary image. It might not even match the kind of explanations and descriptions I've added here. Just for testing, this is just for testing the functionality of the database. So I'm gonna save this. I can add so many other houses right over here. I can also log in with the other user, Arashtad 2, and make these changes, because that user has also got the capability of adding, updating, and viewing this database, but they cannot delete. Okay, I haven't given the delete access. You can also give the delete access to that kind of user. So you have all the capabilities here. You can control everything as a super user. Now that we've controlled everything, we can head over back to the main page, which is the home page. And here, let's head over to the real estate for sale. So let's click on it, and as you can see, the houses has been added with the image, with the with everything that we entered. So the description is missing here. If you get into the details page, you'll see that the description has been added here as well. And so probably we should delete this part related to the price. This is unnecessary. We can do this later. So here on the home page, you can also search for Ontario and search here. As you can see, it will find this house for us. So here we've got pretty much everything we needed. You can also search from here, Toronto, and apply the search filter, and everything that you need is right over here. So here, as you can see, we've logged in as the admin, right? So here, instead of login and register, we've got logout. If you click on the logout, as you can see, we've got the login and register, and in order to get into the admin panel, we need to log in again, or we can log in using here. So I can enter Arashtad as the option that I've had, and enter my password. As you can see, I've logged in again, and I can also enter the admin panel without ever needing to enter my username and password, right? So I'm redirected to the admin panel like this. Notice that you can also customize the admin panel according to your preference of your website. So you can create a custom management system using this kind of admin panel, and also the forms that it has got. But here, I don't think it's necessary for at the beginning, unless you want to get into the further and deeper parts of the website. You want to create a complete website by yourself. So with that said, this is a website that is ready for you to up and run quickly, and also add the different parts of the database, and even be able to change the images on your homepage, which I will also mention later in our tutorials. So with that said, the website is ready, and in the next parts we will focus on the coding part. We will start from scratch and become familiar with every details of the project, how we've coded every single part, how we created the project, and how we added the elements one by one to the project for it to become complete. Notice that if you git clone the project, you won't be able to see the slides. Instead, you will be able to see the image icon here on the top left with the slide 3, slide 1, and slide 2. So the reason this is happening is that you don't have the images on the static folder. So all you need to do is to add 3 images, just according to the templates that we have on the home.html, 3 images with the names slide 1.jpg, slide 2.jpg, and slide 3.jpg. You can also change the name by changing them right over here if the format or the name of the image is different. But here, as you can see, we don't have the images on the static folder images, so we need to add them. So what I'm going to do is to copy the images from my previous project folder, and here I can add them to my new project folder here. So if I go back to homepage and refresh the page, you will be able to see that the images appear. Make sure the images has enough quality to fit the homepage, full page. And once you do that, you have the images in there. You can also add more images. For example, you may want to have 6 images on these slideshows. So all you need to do is to copy and paste these tags and copy as many number as you want here on the home page. So you can, for example, if you want 4 of them, you can copy 1 more and paste it here afterward, and add the image with the name of the image right over here, and also the image on this directory. So anyway, that's it for this part of the tutorial, and then in the following we're going to start the project from the very beginning and make the very simple kind of website, and then add to it so that we get somewhere like here and have this kind of website.